Welcome to Tales of Life. In a small, forgotten corner of a sprawling city lived a determined village boy named David. His world was a labyrinth of alleyways and overflowing bins, a kingdom of discarded metal and forgotten treasures. From the break of dawn until the last light faded from the sky, David earned his meager living by collecting scrap metal and trash. He was a young man, but the harshness of his life had etched lines of premature age onto his face. Though he had little education, his spirit was rich with honesty, a fierce diligence, and a set of clear life principles that guided his every move. His office was the open street, and his uniform was whatever tattered clothes could shield him from the elements. He faced the biting cold of winter and the suffocating heat of summer with the same stoic resolve. Yet the elements were not his only adversary. He endured the stinging of social prejudice, the condescending glances from those who saw him as just another part of the city's refuse. Daily dangers lurked in sharp-edged metal and unstable piles of junk. The constant shadow of financial scarcity loomed over him, a persistent reminder of the debts he struggled to repay. One sweltering afternoon, David's route took him past a massive construction site, a chaotic symphony of noise and motion. He stopped, his cart momentarily forgotten, and stared in awe. Towering cranes reached for the sky like metallic giraffes, their hooks gracefully lifting steel beams. Mighty excavators clawed at the earth, their powerful arms digging deep into the ground with relentless force. Cement mixers churned with a rhythmic, hypnotic rumble, birthing the foundations of a new skyscraper. For David, these were not just machines. They were symbols of immense power, of creation, of a life so vastly different from his own. A dream, bold and audacious, began to take root in his heart. He envisioned a future where he was not the one sifting through the remnants of progress, but the one commanding the very engines of it. In that moment, watching the steel giants dance, David made a solemn vow to himself. He would leave his life as a scrap collector behind. His first step would be to become one of them, a machinery operator, a master of these powerful beasts. The dream ignited a fire within him, a burning resolve that transformed his existence. Every piece of scrap metal he collected now had a dual purpose: to provide for his basic needs and to fuel his ambition. He began saving money, little by little, a few coins at a time, tucked away in a rusty tin can. Each coin was a testament to his sacrifice. He worked longer hours, pushing his body to its limits. He sacrificed sleep, rising before the sun, and working long after it had set. He skipped meals, the gnawing hunger in his stomach a small price to pay for the future he was building. His transformation did not go unnoticed. Fellow scrap collectors, men who had long accepted their lot in life, watched him with a mixture of pity and scorn. They would see him studying old machinery manuals he had salvaged, his brow furrowed in concentration. "Look at the dreamer," they would jeer. "He thinks he can trade his trash cart for an excavator." "You will never succeed, David. People like us don't get chances like that." Their words were like sharp stones, but David used them to build a wall of determination around his dream. He refused to let their cynicism extinguish his hope. When he had saved just enough, he began seeking jobs, knocking on the gates of construction sites, his heart pounding with a mix of fear and excitement. But the rejections were swift and brutal. "No experience," one foreman would say. "No formal qualifications." Another would bark before waving him away. The world of heavy machinery seemed an impenetrable fortress. Just as despair began to creep into the edges of his resolve, a glimmer of hope appeared in the form of an old, kind-faced site manager named Mr. Chun. He saw past David's dirty clothes and calloused hands. He saw the fire in his eyes, the unyielding determination that refused to be quenched. He couldn't offer him a driver's seat, but he saw an opportunity. "I can't let you operate the machines," Mr. Chun said, his voice gruff but not unkind. "But I need a laborer, someone to clean the site, wash the machinery? The work is hard and the pay is low. Are you interested? For David, it was the most beautiful offer he had ever heard. It was a foot in the door, a chance to be near the machines he idolized. He accepted with a gratitude that shone from his very being. David worked tirelessly, his energy boundless. He was the first to arrive and the last to leave. He didn't just wash the machines. He studied them, learning every lever, every gauge, every hydraulic line. During his breaks, while others rested, David would observe the experienced operators, mimicking their movements, committing their techniques to memory. He would talk to the mechanics, asking endless questions, absorbing their knowledge like a dry sponge. His natural aptitude for mechanics soon became apparent. He began noticing small issues, loose belt. A strange noise from an engine end would point them out, often suggesting a simple fix. His knack for solving these minor problems, which saved the company time and money, did not go unnoticed and deeply impressed his employer, Mr. Chun. Seeing his dedication and potential, Mr. Chun finally gave him the chance he had been dreaming of. He arranged for David to receive formal training, and soon David was no longer washing the excavator, he was operating it. The feeling of commanding the powerful machine, of shaping the earth with his own hands, was more exhilarating than he had ever imagined. Had done Italiano. He had become a heavy machinery operator. With his new position, David achieved a decent income, a stability he had never known. The days of hunger and constant worry began to fade. Yet he remained as frugal and diligent as ever, saving his money with a clear purpose. He knew, deep in his heart, that being an operator was just the first step on a much longer journey. The dream that had been born at the foot of a construction site had grown. He no longer just wanted to operate the machines. He wanted to own them. He had the ambition to start his own small contracting company. This was a leap far greater and far riskier than his first. It required a significant amount of capital, more than he could ever save from his salary. After months of careful planning and sleepless nights, he made a momentous decision. He gathered all his savings, and with a detailed business plan clutched in his hand, he walked into a bank. He took out a loan, mortgaging his future against his unwavering belief in himself. With the loan approved, he purchased his very first machine, a small, second-hand back. It wasn't the biggest or the newest, but it was his. Standing next to it, the keys in his hand, David felt the sense of pride and terror he had never experienced before. He was no longer just an operator. He was a business owner. But now, he faced a new set of challenges. The fierce competition of the open market and the heavy, crushing burden of debt. The road ahead was uncertain, but David faced it with the same grit and determination that had carried him from the alleyways to the driver's seat. A humble village boy named David Vera starts taking small jobs independently. Thanks to his honesty, responsibility, and quality work, he quickly earns a good reputation. His business grows. He buys a second, then a third machine, and begins hiring workers and operators. He establishes a well-known company. The final scene could show Vera standing at one of his large construction sites, filled with the machinery he now owns. He might encounter another scrap collector and offer them a job or education opportunity, showing that he hasn't forgotten his roots and is giving back to society. Perseverance, resilience, and commitment can transform one's life, even starting from the absolute bottom. Thanks you for watching Chano Tales of Life.